Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Nicole, and here on We Mama I do lots of motherhood, lifestyle, cleaning and organisational videos. So if you like that kind of thing, make sure you hit subscribe and stay tuned. If you're new to my channel, I've got a little boy who is currently 8 months old. He is called Didier. I have been doing these updates since I started my channel when he was around 3 months old. So to get straight into it, first of all, he's not here today, he is at nursery. I mentioned in my last video that it is getting so hard to film now because he's just into everything. He doesn't want to sit still, he's crawling, he's off, so it's just easier now for me to sit down and actually just speak to the camera without having to worry about where he is. So it's just easier for me to insert some footage of him and show you what he's up to, what he's been doing, just for my sanity basically. So at the moment Didier is teething. It's been a bit of a shock to the system. When he got his first 2 teeth, he got his first 2 bottom ones when he was just turned 5 months, I think. And they literally popped up like daisies in the middle of the night. We knew nothing about it. They literally just appeared and I was like, ah! He hadn't been grizzly, moody, crying off his food or anything. And when they came, I was like, good God. I was like, is this teething for us? No. It wasn't to be. It wasn't that simple. These 2 top teeth have shown us what a devil child we have. Bless his little heart. He has been so poorly with them. They have taken a really long time to come through as well. I think they kind of started emerging around just after 7 months. And now he's just in 8 months, so now they are starting to fully pop through and like they're just taking ages to actually come through. He has not dealt so well. He's had some really bad nappies. Really bad nappies. And he has been off his food. My child, he will eat anything. He will scream if you don't feed him fast enough. And he has literally turned his nose up at every food. He loves bananas. Like I said, he loves all food, but his favourite are like bananas and toast. He wouldn't put anything past his lips. He would only, like, when we realised he wasn't really eating, we would give him a bottle. He'd have about an ounce, maybe 2, and then throw the bottle away. He just wasn't interested. But we're slowly getting back now. I have my son back. It has been quite lovely in a way because he's been quite clingy. Even though I really don't want to see him in pain, it's been really nice because he literally just cozies up to you and just gives you a really good cooch. So I've been enjoying that part of it. Another thing that we've noticed is that is it an incisor? The one next to the canine, that one is starting to come through. Like it's not popped through the gum yet, but it's bulging out and you can see it's white, so I think that's going to be here anytime soon. He is babbling a lot more, definitely more talkative than last month's video that I mentioned. He will literally just shout, sing, you always know where he is because he's my husband says that we have that in common. We always notice that he is a lot more babbling and talkative once he's come home from nursery, so I always like to see that he's kind of picking those things up from the other children.
What are you doing? I think you're a bit hyper from nursery. Give it back. Give it back.
And his social environment, I love that. Another thing that I love is that he has started dancing. I've never seen anyone do this before, but he will, he got to the point where when he was hearing music, he would literally just put his hands up in the air and just start doing that, and it's just so funny. And then he just kind of carried on doing it, and but then when he gets really shy, when you notice him doing it, he just puts his head down or puts his arms like that. It is so endearing. It's so cute to watch. Now he's gotten a bit more used to it, and we encourage it a lot more. And now when I walk into the kitchen, I put him in his high chair for breakfast and I turn the radio on. It's the first thing I do in the morning, and you just see him in his high chair, his arms will go up and he'll be like, yeah, it's so funny to watch. With his physical development, along with dancing, he is still really getting quite strong and more confident pulling himself up onto things. I think I mentioned before that he likes to put himself up on the kitchen drawers, and that's everything: the chair, the sofa, the coffee table, the TV unit. We've had to like baby-proof the whole TV unit because it's glass and quite sharp. We've got the corner protectors on the end, but he hasn't hit his head on the end ones. It's more just the glass shelf. A while ago he did fall and hit his head, and he just got a line down his forehead, so that was fun. So I'm really paranoid about him going in that area, but yeah, he's getting more confident in standing up and holding on to things. The other thing was that he's started to not like his walker. I think I put him in it the other day, and Christ, did he have a meltdown. He just went rigid, he's flung his head back, and then other times I've had to sneak him in there, and he's fine until he realises that you're putting his legs through the leg hole, and then he just wah, wah. The other thing that I notice is that when he's crawling on all fours, he is starting to push himself up. So before he would kind of go on all fours and he would kind of rock, making himself ready to crawl. Now he goes onto all fours and he starts to lift his bum in the air, so almost as like he's trying to crouch. And my mum was like, oh my god, he's learning to stand, and I'm not ready for that. But, obviously he's got a long way to go before he does that, but that's like the beginnings of it, isn't it? So I'm just not ready. Another thing that he was doing is, you know, sofa surfing, furniture surfing, where he's walking along things like a little mime. He's getting more confident doing that. But the other day, he pulled himself up onto our door. So he pulled himself up and he was walking along it, and then he turned around and let go, and he was just standing there not holding on to anything, and I was like, ah! My husband was like, ah! We were just watching him, waiting for him to fall, but he didn't move, he just stood there, and then he kind of looked at us in shock and smiled and then fell back down. And he's done that twice now, so he's getting more confident and ready to learn to stand and be steady on his feet. So I honestly think he's going to be walking before Christmas. His little personality is really coming on. He is so cheeky. I'll insert a little clip at the end of this video where he's trying to get into my kitchen cupboards, and honest to God, the smile. Like I'm basically saying in the video, like, don't go in there. It's like out of the cupboard, and he puts his head in, and then he looks back at me and he starts howling with laughter and basically throws himself into the cupboard because he knows that he shouldn't be going in there. That's another thing, like if he knows that he shouldn't be going towards it or doing it, he loves that. He gets off on that, and he'll just run toward, like, well, crawl towards it, and he cackles when I'm like, no. So yeah, it's safe to say that he's keeping us on our toes. Along with being cheeky and his personality, he's always been a laughing baby, a really happy baby. He was proper chuckling from about 3 months, and he's smiling from day one. And he's always had a good belly chuckle, but now it's just kind of evolved, and it is I can't quite explain it, but he's still got, it's just basically even more of a deep belly chuckle. When you get him going, he doesn't stop, and it makes you laugh more because he's got such a chuckle. And then when you laugh, he'll laugh even more. He just loves to laugh. At meal times now, he is eating 3 meals in the day and just has bottles in the morning and at night. He's slowly starting to want to eat off our plates, and we are kind of eating with him. When I say eating with him, I don't mean sat down at the table. I always sit down at the table with him. I mean that sometimes I will just cook a load of veg and serve him that, and I'll have my own tea. I'm just slowly starting to incorporate us having the same food together. It's more my fault because I forget. Like, I'll add salt to something and then meaning to give it to him, and then realise and be like, oh, I can't do that. But yeah, he's still loving his food aside from the whole teething thing. Once that passed, for the moment, he was straight back into his food. He was loving that. The only time that he didn't want his food was when we had a colossal bug. We stayed down my dad and my stepmom's the other day down in South Wales. I just wanted to point out my Rainbow Welsh book because I've got to have a bit of Welsh heritage in here because there's so much French in this house. Yeah, we went down my dad's in South Wales and he was so ill. He has never really been sick before, just like kind of baby sick. I don't know if it was something he had eaten or it was due to teething. I know that they obviously get a lot of bad nappies when they're teething, but this kind of nappy was like nothing I've ever seen before. Basically, we put him to bed in the travel cot, and then in the night he woke up for his bottle. My husband Matthew had him in his arms. Next thing you know, he kind of made a little burping noise, and when we were like, oh, he projectile vomited across our bed, like my stepmom's bed in her spare room. This was probably about 1:30 in the morning. It was all down him. There was just food everywhere. We were coated. He was coated. The bed was coated. It was a nightmare. We bathed him, put him back to bed, like coached him, looked after him, put him back to bed. Next thing we know, just as I put him down and got him off to sleep, I got back into our fresh new bed, and next thing I know, I heard him retching. Panicked, got out of bed, went to him. He was on all fours retching again, and he was just in another pool of sick in his bed. It was terrifying. It was messy, it was stinky. We put him back in the bath. Probably this was probably around like 2:30 by this point, 2:00, 2:30. Got him ready, and then third time trying to get him back off to bed, he had the biggest poo explosion. And I mean, it was one of those ones where I don't know how it happened, but it ended up all at the back of his neck. We were exhausted. He was exhausted. He was so poorly. He was absolutely fine in himself. He had no temperature. He wasn't snotty, not kind of cold or anything. It was bizarre. And the next day he was right as rain. My stepmom, we genuinely couldn't believe it because he was so happy, smiley. I'm putting it down to teething or maybe like a 24-hour tummy bug. But it was like nothing I've ever seen before, and I do not want to go through that ever again. So yeah, aside from that lovely visual representation of that one night, he's been fine. As for playing, he loves the sensory tray that I do. We've put pasta in it, lentils, cars, water, ball pit kind of thing. Kind of stuff that I have to do at work with the children, because I work in a nursery, I work with children. He has loved that. Kind of looks at me like I'm a bit mental when I put spaghetti in it, but yeah, he has loved exploring and playing with that. He is also loving particular toys at the moment. He loves those books that you get with the button and they sing. I don't, because all I've heard, I think I bought some from Aldi for quite cheap. I think they were like under £2. I think I went into the works to buy one for £4 and then saw them in Aldi for £1.70, something like that. So I bought him a whole load thinking it was a great idea. By the time I got home, I was like, why did you do this? The best part was the other night that he was sat reading one up in our bedroom. I got up in the middle of the night to go downstairs to sort him out, and I stepped on the book, so in the morning I had like Old MacDonald's blaring away. My husband was like, meh. But yeah, along with his toys, I noticed that it's a bit easier now for him to actually sit and play. Before, he would literally see a toy, kind of throw it about a bit, get bored of it, move on to the next thing. He still is like that, but he's a bit more calmer now. If you put him down with a bunch of toys, he will actually sit and play for a good couple of minutes. So when I come down in the morning, while I'm doing breakfast, I'll put him maybe on the floor and he will sit and play with his toys for a bit while I put the toast on the kettle, the radio, things like that. He can just entertain himself for a minute and independently play, which has actually been really great. As I mentioned, he doesn't really like the walker anymore, so that's kind of out of the question. He doesn't really go in that anymore, so it just gives me a peace of mind knowing that he's just in one place while I'm got my back turned for a minute. He is still kind of sleeping. He goes down to bed at 6 o'clock and he'll kind of wake up at 11 o'clock, same kind of routine, and then he'll wake up at 3 for a bottle and then 6. At the moment he kind of has a nap around 8 o'clock in the morning. He'll wake up at 6 and then he'll go down around 20 past 8. I've just noticed that the naps are getting shorter and shorter, so I have kind of no time to myself, which I'm struggling with. Because he only does nursery in the morning, my husband is a chef, so he is not here only on his days off. I've got no family, so that is something that I am kind of struggling with, because they are getting shorter. He doesn't kind of fight them, but sometimes I have to keep going up and down. Sometimes I have to know that, oh, I spot the signs that he's tired, and I'm quite quick to put him to bed, and then I realise that I get up there and he's not there just yet, so we end up coming back downstairs, having a little play, and then having to wait. So I think I'm just so desperate for me to just eat in peace or something, just quickly have 10 minutes to myself. So at the moment those naps, they are dwindling down. Another thing is he doesn't really sleep in the pram anymore, so when we're out and about for the day, there's so much going on that he will not sleep in the pram unless he's that exhausted. He'll get that upset that he'll kind of, not even that upset, he'll just kind of whinge. He won't full on have a tantrum or cry in the pram, but he will get very upset and whinge and just a bit fidgety until I rock him and get him off that way. He still does not like getting dressed. He does not like getting out of the bath. They're kind of his dislikes at the moment, and still not being fed fast enough. That is mainly everything now for his 8 months. He's just growing so fast, he changes so much. Whenever he wakes up in the morning, or sometimes even when he does have a nap, and I look at him and I'm like, you look different. It's so bizarre to just see him constantly growing. So I'll end this video here. Please stay tuned for the next one if you like this kind of thing. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel to stay tuned for more. It really helps support and grow my channel. Let me know in the comments if there's any videos that you'd like to see, or even just to say hi. I love reading your comments. Before you go, please stay tuned to watch this little clip of him in the cupboard because he's such a little bugger. But yes, thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!
Out of my cupboard. Oi! Out of the cupboard. Oi! You know you're not allowed to now. Get out the cupboard. Get out the cupboard. Ah! Get out. Out.